lose. And he did not do a good job of that after the Super Bowl. But you just have to be more professional than that. And I just tell Cam I love him, but he was 100% wrong in that instance.
Would you care to weigh in on this, Shaq?
No, Chuck's, makes a good point, but, I'm not the type of man to kick an elephant when he's down. A lot of people on this guy, I'm sure he's listened to everything, but yes, you have to be a professional in this situation. And the reason why I'm not going to talk about it, I was Cam before social media. When the Rockets swept us, first time going to the finals, I didn't have much to say to the press either, but my mother and father pulled me to the side and said, you can't do that. So, if I have... Let me finish. We let you talk. Let me finish.
I understand that, but what did you just say?
I said my mother and father pulled me to the side.
That's all we're saying.
Okay, but they're getting on them on ESPN, they're talking about them in the blogs and tweets, and there's a whole bunch of me. I'm not going to do that to the brother Cam, but you have to remain professional. You have to talk when you win. You have to talk when you lose. That's all I'm going to say.
You guys have all been through huge games and huge disappointments at times, and probably the last thing you want to do is sit there and look at a bunch of microphones, but...
You have to. No one wants to do it. It's uncomfortable. You're upset, especially when you haven't played well or haven't performed well. If you're coaching, if you made some decisions that you think came back and hurt your team in the games. But you got to take it. I mean, it's just part of it. No one enjoys it, but you've got to stand there and answer the questions. And there does come a time, though, when you got to say, you answer everybody's questions and say, okay, they start repeating the questions because they're looking for you to get even more upset. And you say, okay, I've had enough. But you've got to stand in there.
You know what I thought about when I saw that happening? On an open court, we had Isaiah Thomas on. And I asked Isaiah, and I said, once upon a time, you walked off the floor without shaking anybody's hands when you lost to Michael Jordan's Bulls. And he said, and I regret that. He said, that's the one thing I wish I had a do-over on, that I had not done that night. And
that was the thing, Ernie, I was a little disappointed in Cam today because he had 48 hours to think about it. I wish he had came out and just said, hey, you know what? I was wrong. I was upset, but there was no reason for me to take it out on the press. Because, you guys come to me when I do good. And I can't be selective. So that, as disappointed I was Sunday, I probably was even more disappointed today because he had time. And like Shaq said, his mom and dad pulled him aside and said, hey, you can't do that. And I'm disappointed somebody in Cam's camp didn't pull him aside. You just can't say a loser, a good loser is just a loser. It doesn't work like that. Because as great as Kevin was, as great as Shaq was, they've lost more than they won.
Yep.
Right.
So you're going to lose more than you win. So you just can't be happy when you win and then just tell everybody to go to hell when you lose.
And just one more thing, and then we'll close this all out. But I've seen what he's meant to so many young fans up there in Carolina and giving the footballs away to kids in the front row when he scores. And so kids up there want to be like Cam Newton.
Yes.
And what he, in this opportunity, it would have been, it was a teaching moment to tell these kids and his fans that, look, even when it doesn't go your way, sulking and answering in one word and leaving and saying you're a loser if you're not a sore loser. I think he missed an opportunity for those young fans to say, you know what, I want to